We have such an incredible show today. I was here an hour early to get prepared because I have so many questions for our guests. How about kicking it off with not one, but two-time Super Bowl champion, soon-to-be Hall of Famer, LeSean McCoy. We have Giants GM Joe Schoen on the program, Hard Knocks fame. What was it like having the cameras? What's it like with you and Saquon Barkley? What's it like between you and your son? Because he wanted you to draft Jaden Daniels, and that was kind of awkward. It must be awkward in the old hallways with Daniel Jones walking by. And we have, oh my gosh, can we just sit back and remember the days of Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis just destroying offenses and quarterbacks left and right? Yes, he's being inducted in a couple weeks in hallowed Canton, 2024 Hall of Famer linebacker Patrick Willis. Am I dreaming?
Just the way it feels. I mean, it feels like New Year's Day, feels like being born. Feels like coming out of the womb, It's like you're in there and it's comfortable and it's safe, and now you're out, you're born, the lights are on, it's bright, got chaos, people looking at you, people talking at you, and just feels good to have it happen.
Jim Harbaugh's so freaking weird. What a weird way to describe training camp. That's one man's opinion. It's about coming out of the womb and being reborn. It sounds like a lot of fun. Let's see what a two-time Super Bowl champion and co-host of Speak on FS1, Shady McCoy, has to say. Did camp feel like that for you, Shady? Did it feel a little different for you?
Yeah, it didn't feel like birth to me. I mean, camp is sweaty, it's hot, you got guys hitting you. I don't think nobody really enjoys camp.
Yeah.
Right? I think you enjoy just being back with the friends and the teammates, but not like that, like the way he described.
Well, there's no footage, thank God. So you're saying it's a little bit more like what happened to Mekhi Becton, who threw up 10 times at Eagles camp yesterday.
Hey, listen, man, Philadelphia, we work. I don't know what they're doing with the Jets, you know what I'm saying? But over in Philadelphia, we gonna work.
Well,
he's a hell of a player, though.
People are saying that he's out of shape. Others are pointing, to the fact that Philadelphia is unbearable as far as heat's concerned. Is it really that bad?
He might just be out of shape. I think that's been his thing, his knock. He's been banged up a little bit, and he's been out of shape. But I think that he'll do great there, though. His line coach, Jeff Stoutland, is really, really good, super competitive. So he'll have some fun there. I mean, what's wrong with a little throw up, a little sweat? That's part of the game.
It's true. LeSean, you're such a joy to have. You have the best energy. I'm watching you on Speak. You're always ripping up papers and throwing them everywhere. How has your off-season been? Are you excited about 2024?
Oh, I'm excited. Me and Deshaun, we partnered up with our podcast, 2510, so that's doing very, very well. I'm just excited, man. New year, football's around the corner. We're back in camp that fast. It's a lot of things I'm waiting to see, man, like the Eagles, what they're going to look like this year. With Jalen Hurts. I also think about the Chiefs. Will they three-peat? There's so many different things to worry about and think about. I'm so excited.
Well, let's start with Saquon and those Eagles, right? He made his debut at training camp this week. Sounds like you're excited. There's a lot of footage of him catching passes, Shady. Is he enough to fix the issues the offense had last year?
I don't know if he's the answer for that. I think our issues last year was communication, turnovers, just not playing Eagle football. We had a really good running back with DeAndre Swift last year, but I do think Saquon elevates the offense even more, catching the ball, running the ball, the big play capability that he has. Now we have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and then you got Saquon Barkley. I know you said Joe's coming on later. I was with him in Buffalo, so I really want to know what the hell you were thinking about giving your best player to your rival. I mean, we're excited.
I don't know. He said he wouldn't come up with the number. I don't know. What was he? You know him. What was he thinking?
Fantasy football has to be. If everybody in your family, right, is telling you, hey, take a quarterback because your quarterback's not good enough, why would you get rid of the running back? You know what it is right now in this league? It's really pissing me off is that we only focus on the quarterback. So, for example, like CeeDee Lamb is out, right? He's trying to get a new contract. And if you think Justin Jefferson's better than him, it's pretty close. But let's say JJ is better, right? But they're both elite. So he should be able to jump over the market and set the market up. For example, guy like Trevor Lawrence, who's really not that good, how the hell does he set the market up? You get what I'm saying? So it's they play with the quarterbacks. We live in a real world where Daniel Jones is a starting quarterback and he's making like, what, $80 million or something like that? Like, how does that even happen? And then your best player is Saquon, you get rid of him. We got to just turn the narrative with the quarterbacks thing because it's like it's getting out of hand.
It seems like the thought would be just scarcity, right? Replacing a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence is not as easy as it is to maybe replace a running back and still get great production. Like, is Devin Singletary not going to, as far as value is concerned, what they're paying him, that's what they look at, right? And we've seen a lot of running backs step up and do really well on short notice even.
That's true. That is true, but that's the narrative they create. For example, if we look at Minshew's numbers, Gardner Minshew, right, the quarterback that's played for the Jaguars, we look at his numbers, and we look at Trevor Lawrence, whose numbers do you think would be better?
You think Minshew, there's not a big difference between Minshew and Trevor Lawrence?
Not really. When you get a second, just check it out. Like, you went shopping, you get your nails done, you get your feet done, just check it out. Just check the numbers out because, like, Minshew's probably making, I think, like $12 to $15 million, and then Trevor's making like what, 200-something million. If you really look at the production, it's not that big of a difference.
I mean, Minshew's the backup to Aiden O'Connell in Vegas right now. Like, Trevor Lawrence is a bona fide. I can't really understand the differences aren't there for you. I'm not saying there's not a difference between Devin Singletary and Saquon. There is, but when it comes to matching up money between those two, and you look at, Singletary I'm sure you have good things to say about him.
He had
a great year in Houston.
He's really good. I played with him in Buffalo. What I'm saying is that we only look at that. We only look at other positions like that, right? Let's compare the numbers. Is it a big drop off? Yeah. We don't do the same with quarterbacks. For example, like, I just gave you the example with the wide receivers, with CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson, where they're really, really close, and it should be no question that the Cowboys should pay him at the top of the market because he's that good. Or you look at, like, we asked the questions about if we should pay Jordan Love the new market. He should be the highest paid, right? He had one good year, really, really good, big upside, but he only had one good year. You look at guys like, who else? Looking for a contract. Trevor Lawrence. Tua's good, right? But, like, the argument is every time a guy is really, really good, they get paid at the top of the market at the quarterback. So my thing is, why even have the elites of the elites and the best of the best if you can be really, really good and get elite money? Where in running backs, you can be good but don't get elite money. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I have an issue with. That's all I'm saying.
Is the quarterback position the most important position?
On most teams, yes. On most teams, yes.
Which teams? And so, like, the San Franciscos of the world, you're saying it's not?
No, I mean,
and
no.
New York.
Obviously, New York. I just think, like, if I had to pick out of Daniel Jones and Saquon, why would I pick Daniel Jones? I mean, like, what tells me I should make him our future quarterback, right? Only thing I would say is maybe because Brian Daboll is really, really that good. But other than that, like, Daniel Jones. Come on.
We're going to move on from this. I have too many things to talk to you about. It's a good. I very much understand the frustration. I always want running backs to get paid and all of that. How does this change? How can you change? You're on Speak. You're on FS1. How can you change the way the market's viewed? That's what has to happen.
I've been talking about it. It's like we only focus on a quarterback. So, like, it's not just all running backs. It's like other positions, like like the wide receivers, like certain defensive players. Like, we only focus on the quarterbacks. And we live in a world where, like, a guy like, okay, Baker Mayfield, right? He was okay. He got a $100 million contract. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like the market is the market, and if a player is good, we just automatically jump him over everybody. And I don't agree with that because other positions we don't do that with.
Yeah, and we also write off running backs as far as longevity, durability, making that investment maybe a little bit too soon. I think Saquon's going to kill it. I think he's going to bring it as a leader, too. I think that
he's on ball.
Yeah, he is. Well, you said on Speak the other day, let's get into this. You wish you played your entire career as an Eagle. I liked hearing that. I have some questions about it. And you kind of talked about the aftermath of the Chip Kelly trade, and you said leaving Philly is something that will haunt you the rest of your life. Do you think Saquon will look back at the Giants with the same kind of regret?
No, I don't think so. Because it was different. Like, he gave him every opportunity, to sign him. With me, it was kind of like there was no conversation about it. You know, me and the ex-coach, we didn't get along, and I had to move on. You know, so and also with Saquon, it's like, what success have the Giants had, right? Like, you just look at the team, like, did they help them out? Well, my Philly team, you know, we got better and better and better. And then when I left, you know, they even got better on the defensive side, which we really need help on. So it's just hard to look back on a team that wasn't really successful, you know, even if he was the best player, compared to my situation where we had a real, like, dynasty team, right? I had Michael Vick as my quarterback. I had Deshaun Jackson as my #1 receiver, right? All the guys you see in Philadelphia that was balling, from Brandon Graham to Fletcher Cox. You know, all them guys, we were all together. Lane Johnson, we were all together, right? And we had a good thing going there. So I just, at my peak, you know, I left, I was like 3rd in rushing. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, I was on top of my game, where Saquon's kind of been up and down with injuries and et cetera with the team, you know, but I just don't understand my case. That's why I think from being the Eagle, especially the all-time leading rusher, it's like it was hard to let that go.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon faced at the franchise, though, beloved by fans with the Giants.
Yes.
Like, he is leaving that behind. It's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see, like, what his role is if he has that as the same thing on the Philly squad. That, I mean, the Philly fans are super excited about him. I'm just going to call bullshit on. Yeah, but I'm going to call bullshit on you a little bit. Like, I was listening to you talk about like, oh, I wouldn't. It'll haunt me. Like, if we, maybe it's just how I feel about you. If you don't leave the Eagles, do you have 2 Super Bowl rings? No, right? Like,
No. The Eagles won a championship when I left, like 2 years later.
Yeah, but they couldn't. The reason they got better is because they traded you and saved a lot of money, Shady. Let's be honest. Get out of here.
No, because the defense was better, but the offense was like,
they're not winning. They are not winning a Super Bowl with you because of money, because you wanted and you got money, right? They tried to trade you. They wouldn't be able to get that good.
Nah, we
You don't think so?
I think, nah.
We wouldn't have had the snow game in Buffalo. How could you try to rob? I'm trying to think of the world.
I love Buffalo, though. I love Buffalo.
Shady, Shady, this is what they're showing Canton for your Hall of Fame bid. This and that, you know, obviously as a Philly, your game against Detroit, or against the Lions. But this, if I don't have this, I don't know if I can write the story of Shady or the NFL.
Listen, I love Buffalo. I had a great time there. A lot of my good friends from there. I just think that, like, you gotta understand. So I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. I played ball at Pittsburgh for college, and then I went straight to the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm a Pennsylvania guy, you know?
Yeah.
And I just feel like most times when guys leave teams, right, it's like they're declining, there are issues, right? I didn't have none of that. I was still at the high of my peak. I was 3rd in rushing at the time, and then we had a good team, a good chemistry, you know? So then you get rid of all the best players. Like, how do you let go of Deshaun Jackson? And then we cut him. We didn't even trade him.
Crazy.
We cut him. So
LeSean, would you trade your 2 Super Bowl rings to stay an Eagle for your entire career?
Yeah. You know, I don't know how to winning Super Bowl was something, because this is the thing. We might have got 2 or 3 in Philly, though.
But that's might have, coulda, woulda, shoulda. No, you can't. We're talking straight up. The 2 Super Bowl rings that you had, and you can say what you have them. You get to say I'm a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and with your crazy career like that means something. You would trade that for that. You love Philly that much. I love that's your answer.
Yeah. I would trade for it.
That's amazing.
Because for one, we'd have got a championship for one, because they already did that.
Okay.
And then 2 is like, they drafted me. I was 20 years old. I was a kid, you know, and I became a man. So I just think that, like, if you look at all a lot of great players, you don't see a lot of great players that stay on the same team that drafted them, right? A good friend of mine's Larry Fitzgerald. You know, he's like an OG of mine, went to Pittsburgh. And we talk about how he played all his years with the Cardinals, like all the opportunities he got. He's an investor in the basketball team, the Suns, and with the Cardinals. Like, small things you don't even think about. You know, I'd have played, and I could have got into GM work with Howie Roseman, right? We're still cool to this day.
You can
all
still
the
do
small
that.
things you're not thinking about.
You think that you're still doing GM work with Howie. I know you're hitting that send button every 3 seconds trying to get it done. All right, I want to get to some news here. The Cowboys, big decisions to make. I want you to rank these guys in terms of how important they are as with the Cowboys and locking them up long term. Most important to least important: Dak Prescott, CD, or Micah?
Okay. Now, before I answer this question, you know Micah is from Harrisburg. He's from my hometown.
Okay.
So I'm a little biased. So okay. I would say Micah first, but if you're talking to me like a GM.
Yes.
Okay.
This is your GM. Howie audition. Go.
All Okay, so I'm gonna say CeeDee Lamb first because I've always been a CeeDee Lamb fan, right? A lot of people they weren't. They weren't on the bandwagon early. I was. The kid's phenomenal. He's elite of the elites. He's a top 3, top 4, top 5 receiver for sure. He makes a difference in Dallas. I think Dak is a good quarterback, but I don't know how good he is without CD. And then I would pay Micah second. I think he's your best player on both sides of the ball, right? He's a fan favorite. Your team's not the same without Michael Parsons, for sure. And then the last person I would go is Dak. The reason I would say the last person, Dak, is because you would think he's the quarterback, he's the most important. But if you really look at his track record, he always does good in the regular season and doesn't do good in the postseason. And it's like the Cowboys are known for championships. And if I'm Jerry Jones, it's like I already did this thing before. I paid you, and I got the same results. Paid you, got the same results. So now a bigger contract, do I pay you and get the same results? So I would go CD, Micah, and then Dak.
What stops him in the postseason?
In my opinion, I don't think he's tough enough, right? Like when everybody's playing at the elite level, it's the playoffs, small margin for error. We need our best to be the best. Wow. Andy Reid always says this. He always says, like in big games, I need my best players to outperform their best players. And when Dak in the playoffs, he doesn't do that. He freezes up. I don't want to say it's lack of heart, but sometimes he just plays like he don't have that dog in him. Some players do, some players don't. He's one of them that doesn't.
I thought you might say coaching. I thought you might say it's the team, something else. But you're saying he's
even the coaching, though, because people like to say the coaching. But if you look at it, so the year before this year, Dak had an interception issue, right? McCarthy takes over the play calls. If you really watch it, in the beginning of the year, the play call was so conservative, right? Then he gained more confidence with Dak, and then he had an MVP type caliber year. So it's not the coaching. So we get in the playoffs. I mean, what's the difference?
I know it's not supposed to be all about quarterbacks, but I love talking quarterbacks with you, so let's keep it going. We saw, obviously, I don't even know why we're having a season. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, who you just mentioned, they're just going to waltz back and do it again.
Yes, they are.
I know. It's hard to, I watch you on Speak. You're not going to say that there's a contender even, which I love. But let's say we all know Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the National Football League. Who's number 2?
I would go Josh Allen. Josh Allen's phenomenal. Oof. Talented, competitor, arm strength, you name it, right? So when we talk about Dak, like not having that dog in him, Josh is the total opposite, right? And thank God, football guys, that he didn't go to the Cowboys because we would have an issue in Philadelphia. So I would go number 2, Josh Allen.
Yeah, somebody was saying out there, some nameless face was saying he's overrated, which is crazy. We'll see what the list comes up with. Of course, people love lists. I want to ask you a little bit just about the Chiefs, and there's obviously so much excitement. The Kadarius Toney getting some love. Let's talk running back vibes here because he's taken reps at RB. You know Andy, you know the RB position better than anyone. Could he be a legit weapon out the backfield this year?
Yes. Listen, Andy Reid, not only is Andy Reid the best coach to ever put a whistle in his mouth and put a hat on, right? He's the best at like scheming plays up and getting players in open space and letting them have a chance to really show how good they really are. So we had times where we had Deshaun Jackson. He's probably like 175 pounds. He had him in the backfield as a running back sometimes. And Tyreek Hill's another one that in the backfield sometimes. So Andy Reid's going to find ways to get him on the field. He's an explosive player. Kadarius Toney's really, really good, right? He has some up and downs, but that's football. I think he'll be back. I think Andy will do a good job of getting him on the field and creating a space for him. Him and Pacheco in the backfield. He'll find a way. You'll see it. We'll be talking about it on a Monday, like how the hell did Andy Reid dice that up? So he'll do good.
You played Patrick Willis. I have him coming on later. What do you want to say to him? You played him 5 times. Look at that face.
Listen, I'm as confident as it gets, right? And he was really, 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 really good. Fast, strong, smart. Everything you want in a player and a linebacker, he was that. I will say this part, though.
Oh, God.
We had battles. It wasn't just him beating on me. We beat on each other, though. But Pat was
I got Hamilton
talent.
looking it up. I said, how many times did they face each other? He said 5. I'm gonna, like you said about Minshew and Trevor, I'm gonna look at the numbers between you and Patrick Willis. Say congratulations to him. Hall of Fame in a couple weeks. Insane.
He deserves it. Hey, Pat, congrats. I'm not surprised, though. If it was me, I'd have got you Hall of Fame soon you retired because you was that good. Patrick Willis, the GOAT, for sure.
You're the GOAT. Shady, you can see him, of course, on Speak, tossing papers, looking at Acho and calling him crazy the whole time. It's every weekday on FS1 and the podcast. New episodes dropping soon.
25-10. We on the way. Me and Deshaun Jackson.
You're the best, Shady. LeSean McCoy, everybody, an absolute legend. We'll be back after this.
Check them numbers out.
He would trade 2 Super Bowl rings, he said, for staying an Eagle. Here's his rival, Joe Schoen. Are you going to get a Super Bowl ring sometime soon? We've got him joining the show. Cannot wait to chop it up with the GM of the Giants. You guys, Joe Schoen on the show next. Patrick Willis. Can we re-rack that for Patrick if we'll have time? Just maybe the congrats or no, not the congrats. If we could. I don't know if it's GOAT. I think it's more him saying that there were battles. Is that true? I don't know. I can't remember. Were there battles? Can we look at LeSean against Patrick?
Yeah, there were some. I was going back through some of it. Shady. There was a 9 carry for 18-yard game from Shady, a 10 carry for 17-yard game. So Patrick did pretty well.
Okay. I could listen to LeSean McCoy for hours, I think.
He's always got a lot to say.
His sister? Okay, that's cool. Very cool. Not a lot. He said Josh Allen. I thought he was going to say Burrow.
I thought so too. I know he's a big fan of Burrow as well, but yeah, he's got that. He played with Josh. Don't forget too. He had a little experience with him early on in Josh's career up in Buffalo.
Him saying that Dak's the least valuable. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Did you like his argument?
He makes a good case. I mean, especially with what we saw, in that Green Bay game, just something happened. He wasn't sharp at all in that early on in that game, and he got the numbers later. But
LeSean's the only person that you'd say is the quarterback position. I was just trying to end the argument,
Yeah.
Because he'd have to say, it's the most important.
Yeah.
He goes, no.
For some teams. I
couldn't think of names that I wanted to be like Cam Akers, like names that, have stepped up and filled in really well. But it's not like you don't have examples of that in the quarterback world.
True.
You do too.
You had your Nick Foles and
You do. You have them. So then it becomes, Yeah.
And there's the whole thing too, to like Brady, taking less money and what they're able to do with the roster. So he has valid points.
I'm excited to talk to Joe Schoen right now.
I know.
What should we talk to him about?
I mean, we got to get into Dable's workout routine.
I bet he doesn't want to talk about Hard Knocks.
I know.
If you're him, do you want to talk about Hard Knocks? Like, would that be like?
Absolutely not.
All right, let's do this. Guys, Joe Schoen on the program.
But we have to. We have to do it.
Okay. See you. Okay, let's do this. My next guest, I could not be more excited about. We are so excited about the Giants. I want to go to camp. I'm trying to weasel my way there on an off day, a Sunday. Make it happen. We have now the GM of the New York Giants, Joe Schoen. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. We have so many things to talk about. How many questions do I have to ask before we talk about Hard Knocks?
I got plenty of time here. Hey, I'm sure you have a multitude of questions, so whatever you want to ask, go ahead and fire away. First off, why can't you come to camp?
Listen,
what's the issue?
Joe, it's a great question. Listen, it's your 3rd season. I've never been to a Giants training camp. The Jets maybe might go to. Maybe we'll have to switch it out. I'd love to. We'll decide at the end of this interview with how well it goes. Listen, training camp is my favorite because everyone's optimistic, everyone's mostly healthy, and everybody thinks they can win a Super Bowl and go really far. So I love that time of season more than anything. I do want to ask you, I feel like there's this idea that by the time it gets to training camp, all the GMs across the great nation are kicking their feet up on their desk and doing nothing. It's all done. Draft, free agency, all of that. What is a day like for you, and what's training camp like for a GM?
Yeah, the stress level actually goes, through the roof because as you go out and practice, you're just praying that you get through every practice healthy. And, we had a couple dings yesterday, just the first practice. So again, you can have the best off season, the best plan in place, and, a couple injuries here and there, can really screw up a plan. But you go out to practice, they have to practice, they have to hit, they have to tackle as you're playing football. But for me, always have anxiety with injuries or, guys that are going to miss time because the chemistry, being out there practicing the play, some of the new players that you sign in free agency. We have a new defensive coordinator. So the more the group that's going to play on Sundays in the regular season can be together and, start to gain continuity, the better off you're going to be. So it's, once we get through the practice and we get through healthy, that's usually when I can take a deep breath and relax the rest of the day.
Never a dull moment as a GM in the National Football League, especially not in New York. You mentioned injuries. Well, we don't have one at the quarterback spot. Looks like Daniel Jones is full go. Tore his ACL back in early November, cleared for 11-on-11 action yesterday. You said the plan's full go. Now, as somebody who played some quarterback as a freshman at DePauw University, go Tigers, size up how he did yesterday. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly what I was saying about the entire team. You're worried about injuries. It's Daniel's first time in team period. So standing behind the offense as he, bodies are getting around him as he's getting ready to throw. And then the clip you just showed where he's out scrambling. So it was good to see him. He was comfortable in the pocket with bodies around him. And then when he took off and scrambled, he looks good moving around. And everything looked good today, a day after, going through a full practice. So yesterday was very encouraging for us. And again, he's 8 months off surgery. So, we'll still see how the injury in the body reacts. But yesterday was definitely encouraging.
I mean, there were some clips yesterday circulating that didn't look so great. So I'm glad that you're saying that it was encouraging and they're going in the right direction. People seem to be concerned about that, but it's his first practice. And I think this team and this freaking fan base needs to embrace Daniel Jones, friend of the show. And he said yesterday that he sort of went into his conversation with you, a very business, serious, grown man conversation about how you had to explore the quarterbacks in the draft. And he said that was, quote, not fun. What was that conversation like for you?
Yeah, it's not fun because, I love Daniel. He's a great kid. He does everything you would want your quarterback to do. He's got leadership. He works hard. He's the first one in, last one to leave. He's got the physical talent. But the reality was he had some injuries the last couple of years. And, Dabes and I think it's most important to have communication with, the players and keep it real. And I wanted to have that conversation with Daniel. That way he wasn't surprised if we did have quarterbacks come through the building through the draft process. And, that way we were shooting each other straight and he wasn't surprised by anything. And if he had any questions for me, we could talk through it. And, I think Daniel's, he's very bright. He understands the business side of it and he understood what we were doing. And, we ended up getting Malik Neighbors and we're excited about that. And Daniel's trending in the right direction to be ready for opening day. So, again, Dave's and I agree, like we got to have communication with the players. You got to keep it real with them and shoot them straight. And I think they appreciate that.
Well, we'll get to Malik Neighbors. Don't you worry, Joe. What does Daniel Jones not get enough credit for?
Well, again, I think our first year here, he played well and, which, we went on the road, we won a playoff game, which led to, the contract extension. I just think, our schedule last year, the first 6 games of the year were tough. We happened to be on national TV for 4 of those 6 games and we had a lot of injuries. So I think the recency bias of what people saw and what was on the national stage isn't necessarily a reflection of who he is and what he can be. So, he's resilient and I mentioned it yesterday, our media, just not a lot of people are wired to play that position in the city of New York, to be the quarterback of the New York Giants or, left tackle or right tackle, you're under the spotlight big time in New York. So, the way he can tune out the noise, he's been under a tremendous amount of scrutiny since he was drafted. And for him to continue to work and tune the noise out and, again, to come to work every day and put his best foot forward, I give the kid a ton of credit for that.
I was thinking about this interview on my drive-in this morning, and I was like, why do we forget so quickly that this team went to the playoffs, beat the Vikings, and that Daniel Jones was brilliant in that game so quickly? That was not that long ago.
Yeah, you're right. And he did play well. And again, this is his first time being in an offense for 3 years. So he's been with Daves and Kafka. Now this is his 3rd year. And, I think, again, that the continuity of the offense, and if you saw some of the Hard Knocks, just some of the verbiage, I have a son that plays quarterback. I'm like, go ahead and try to call that play. I can't. I sit in those meetings too, and I'm like, Daves, I couldn't learn this stuff. This is the whole language. And you got to know what everybody's doing. Oh, by the way, you got to read the defense. Oh, and then you have to go execute the play. So there's a lot on that position. And again, Daniel played well in 2022. And then, unfortunately, you lose a left tackle. Saquon misses some games. You lose your center. We just had some injuries, and anything that could have went wrong seemed to go wrong last year. And we've got confidence in Daniel and some of the offseason moves that we made to help the offense in general.
You mentioned your son, who's a quarterback at Don Bosco Prep, I do believe. Shout out to them. He knows the quarterback spot. Draft process, there's a lot of different opinions here. How worried are you about that first interaction when young Carson sees Daniel Jones after wanting you to draft Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, he's got a relationship with Daniel. Daniel's been great to my son. So again, that's through the eyes of a 14-year-old, and then my daughter's picking players based on if they're cute, if they're cute or not cute, or whatever else. So again, it's always humbling when you go home and you get the opinions from your kids and what you should do, and they're Monday morning quarterbacks as well. So, but yeah, no, Carson plays quarterback, and he's got opinions on the draft, and through playing Madden or college football or fantasy football, whatever, he definitely stays up on the NFL and what's going on.
Nice division rival for you. Why not? So I on Twitter said, what should I ask Joe Schoen? And every other question was about the offensive line. You said Patrick Mahomes couldn't win with the Giants' offensive line from last year. You've rebuilt it. This has been you pouring into this. Sell that offensive line to your fan base, to me. What are you making of it to start training camp?
Yeah, again, Andrew Thomas is a guy that we extended a couple years ago who, I feel is one of the better offensive tackles in the league. We signed Jermaine Illuminor, who was with the Raiders last year and played at a high level for them. He played right tackle. We played him at left guard in the spring. And then, with Evan Neal being on PUP, we moved him out to right tackle yesterday. And, part of those stressors that I mentioned earlier, he went down with a slight injury, but he'll be all right. But, you're out there holding your breath. You have this whole offseason plan in place, and, day one, there's potential injury to it. So John Michael Schmitz is going into year 2. Again, part of our, some of the ups and downs of last year as a rookie center and 3 different quarterbacks and the revolving door of the offensive line due to injuries. It was tough for him, when you're trying to make calls and playing next to other guys. And then we signed John Runyon from the Packers, who had a really good season last year. And then, again, once Evan Neal gets back healthy, I like the way, the group looks up front, the starting 5, and then, the depth that we have as well.
All right, enough O-line. Let's talk Hard Knocks here, Joe. Joe and Kate, let's be honest. Have you watched every episode?
I have not. I mean, I have before, but not live, or 3 or 4 days before, but not live. I have not watched.
So you're seeing it before it hits the world. Yeah,
like 3 days before. Here's the final cut of episode whatever it is. So I know what's on the horizon, and luckily the first episode came out. I was actually on a vacation with Dan Morgan. Our family is it's noted in there. We're close, so we were together on a vacation. The second one I was in town. The third one I was out of the country, and then obviously this. The other day I was in town, but you open yourself up to scrutiny, and everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's going to see what they want to see. So I haven't really read a lot of the reviews. I haven't paid a lot of attention to it. I'm just counting down until it's over in the final episode next Tuesday evening.
What did you redline? What did you say? NFL Films, absolutely not. This can't be in here.
There wasn't a lot. Really, we had editorial input, not editorial control. So what we would say absolutely not is if it was our draft board. Some of the screens you'll see are blurred. It may have been our actual, here's our 1 through 150 players on a vertical stack, or our draft board, or, medical information that we have on player cards or whatever it may be. It was that was really the only things that we had to protect ourselves with. Or, if there was a conversation with a player that let's just say, for example, you're talking to a quarterback and you say, hey, who are you throwing to here? I'm throwing into this player here. Is that your favorite receiver? Yeah, that's my favorite player. But there's 3 other receivers from that team in the draft or something. You're trying to protect other people as well, if that makes sense. Elliott Wolf, Dan Morgan, Saquon, his agent. I made sure, hey, you need to
shout out to Ed Berry. It's a good day to be Ed Berry. I love that line.
I told Ed we got to get shirts. Yeah, we got to get shirts with that. But even I had no idea. I'm on the phone with Elliott Wolf, and I called Elliott. I'm like, I'm in my office on the phone with you. I can hear what you were saying, and because we didn't know, the cameras are in my office, but I didn't know what this has never been done.
No.
I didn't know what the final product was going to be. I didn't know where they were going with it. I don't know what the storyline was going to be. So once I saw that, I'm like, he's like, you were I wasn't mic'd. I said there were mics in my office, but the fact that they could hear you on my phone.
It is such a no-no to be mic'd, and that's so terrible. And then obviously, and Saquon saying that, he goes, I didn't know that conversation with Shane about testing the market was on the phone. Did you have to call Saquon and say, or a message to him that you did not know that?
Right. And again, there was 2 cameras in my office, and they were manning the cameras from downstairs in one of the position rooms. So when I come in the office, I still do it I'm they're still there. They're not there anymore. But every morning I look up in the corner. But I look and I'm like, okay, is the camera moving? Are they focusing on anybody? And there was one behind me. So when you're checking your email or maybe your bank account or something, I'm always like, is this guy? What's going on back there? But no. So again, it's the first time it's ever been done. So I really didn't know where they were going to go with it. And then sometimes, I would talk to people on speakerphone, and I'd be like, shoot, I forgot. All this is going on. What actually are they capturing and not capturing? So, again, first time it's ever been done, so I wasn't really sure how it was going to turn out. But anybody that was involved in it like that, where might be a conversation, I made sure they knew. And even the one at the combine with Elliott, we couldn't have been further away from the Patriots suite.
Wow!
And I went all the way around. I had no. I thought there was a range on these mics, and there's no way somebody could hear me that far away. But again, we called them and said, hey, you got to see this, make sure you're comfortable with it. And if you're not, I just think that's the right thing to do.
The fact that you have Hard Knocks PTSD is so funny to me, that you're sitting there and you think the cameras are still there, or you're scared to go to TMZ or play Minecraft or whatever you might be doing because you think the cameras might pick it up. It's sort of wild. And I know that you said you never got quite comfortable with the cameras being there, but then you mentioned Dan Morgan, so I want to switch to that. Is this how this Brian Burns thing happened, you and Dan Morgan? Come on.
Yeah, well, you saw the first conversation at the Senior Bowl, and again, him, Brandon Bean, and I, we all worked together. We're super tight. So we were half messing around. We hadn't seen each other throughout the season. That was the first All-Star game the 3 of us had been, and we're really tight. So it was just cool, just us half, playing around. And then once we got closer to the combine, Dan and I were texting back and forth. We had some conversations, and eventually, right before free agency, we were able to get something done. But he did a great job. I know it says trying to squeeze me for a 7th, but he was wearing me down, doing what's best for the Carolina Panthers, which is what he's supposed to do. And he did his job well. And I also mentioned in there a half a sack. People don't understand, we were doing a deal with Dan on the draft compensation while also trying to get a deal done with the agent on the financial parameters. So a lot going on in that window, and they didn't necessarily catch that because the deal got done at 3 a.m. on Monday morning. So.
Yeah, and I will say him and Tibbs might push for best pass rush duo in the National Football League right now. Can I get there we go. All I needed was the nod of approval. I think they could. That'll be great to see. I learned from Hard Knocks that being a GM is something I would never want to do. It sounds like this. It's so stressful. It's so scary. But you have to make these big decisions like drafting Malik Neighbors. Watching the HBO show, Dable is getting all the credit for the Neighbors pick. Twitter's like, oh, this must be a Dable guy. Is this accurate? Is Malik a Joe Schoen guy also?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's important if having an offensive head coach and somebody who might be involved in the game planning and the offense, that he's on board with the receiver. So when there's buy-in from the coaches, typically the players have the best chance to succeed. And yeah, we love Malik, from route running to toughness to run after catch to the production he had the last 2 years in the SEC. Couldn't be happier to have him on our team.
Amazing. I have 2 more quick ones for you. I wanted to ask about Saquon. I know we joked about, obviously that phone call being on. It's all said and done, and you can't go back. But when you're watching it play back and you're watching that episode 4 days before it airs, and you think about it, would you have done anything differently?
No. No, I wouldn't have. And it's, you say when you watch it, it's funny because when I do, sometimes my emotions go right back there. When I'm stressed on the camera, that stress comes back to me. I'm like, I remember that moment. But no, I think both parties tried. Again, this started back in November of 22. So, people forget that, we did go to him before anybody else. That was my first contract extension and first player that we approached from the Giants for a contract extension back in 22. And unfortunately, we were never able to get anything done. And, we wish Saquon nothing but the best.
And we love that. And, as you said to Ed Berry, good day to be Ed Berry. It's a good season to be Joe Schoen, I think. I'm very excited about it. And when I think about why would you be a GM, you've always had this sick pup mentality. You were under Parcells. You were a national scout for him. So I need your best story. What is one moment that stands out from working with a Giants legend?
Gosh, with Bill Parcells, there's so many. I would just say it's not a best story, but just from a mentorship, like this is Bill Parcells, who you hold in so high regard. And I'm this kid from Elkhart, Indiana. I played Division III football, and I'm sitting in a room with Bill Parcells, and he's like, you know what Tom Landry used to tell me? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like Tom Landry told Bill Parcells, who's about to tell me, this kid from Elkhart, Indiana, like, shouldn't even be sitting here. So it's just like his ability to mentor, not just me, but, other young scouts in the building and give information and always say, why are you thinking that way? This is what I'm thinking. And just, again, I learned so much from him. I've got notebooks full of notes from just anything he would say almost, and I continue to reflect on those. And again, like, we've evolved, like when he was coaching to what the league is now and what it was then. You have to, take some of his thoughts and the way he was thinking, and then you also have to have your own. But there are some of his, fundamental principles that, I still believe in, and, others where I'm like, that may be a little bit outdated, or maybe I don't necessarily agree with that now that I'm doing. But I still talk to him this day. He's going to come out to training camp at some point, like hopefully you will. And, so it's always great to catch up with him. We had the 100th season. We just had an event in the city in June, and he was there. And, it's just awesome. Like the fact that I can use him as a resource and was able to work with him, I'm very fortunate for that time.
Well, now I can't miss the camp if Parcells is coming to the table. I love that because, and I'll see Dable, what's left of him.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to ask about Dable. Is he in the gym working out with you? Is he showing up at 4 a.m. at the facility? What's happening?
All right, so if you Google him, you'll see the evolution of Dayball, depending what year it is. Back in Cleveland, he was down in the 160s. There's all these pictures of him when he's skinny, when he's a little bit overweight.
You have his full scouting report. So GM of you, go on.
Again, and I've worked with him, so we've done this before, and he's rode the roller coaster before, and we typically do like a weight loss challenge in the office in the spring, and he's been part of that. So hopefully he can keep it up. But what he is fell in love with over the last probably 3 or 4 weeks is Pilates. So he's doing Pilates. The first week and a half, he was dying, like he could barely move. But now I think after sticking with it for a couple of weeks, he's addicted.
I needed the Hard Knocks cameras on that. Y'all failed me at NFL Films. That's what we needed. Appreciate the time. You have so much going on, and apparently training camp also stressful. But hopefully you have a second to relax and we get you back in the playoffs. That face seems to say so. I'm very excited, and I'll see you at camp, Joe.
Oh, hey, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we passed the test and you still want to come.
Thank you, Joe Schoen. Coming up, a member of the 2024 Hall of Fame class, Patrick Willis, on the show after this. Oh, hello, everyone. I'm sure you'd have a lot of questions for that last guest, Richard. Hamilton, do you know that in the last 5 minutes I have tried to squeeze in another training camp?
Oh, no.
I just think we can do 2 in a day.
You're really pushing it.
We have like a little, I saw on the schedule right now, we have like a 2 or 3 day hiatus. And I'm like, no, what are we doing? What are we doing those days? Where are we going those days? And Richard's like, there's preseason games. There's no training camp. And I'm like, sus. I'm not buying it. But now we got to go to Giants camp.
We do. I'm sure we can find a date that works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good call. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're so upset about the Saquon thing that you hate the Giants now. My favorite part of that interview was the PTSD from the cameras.
That was so funny.
That he is sitting there and he like looks up and thinks he's on camera. It's like the funniest thing.
Yeah. It is. I'm playing Minecraft.
Nothing more motivating for your season. Did I say Minecraft? Did I say that?
Or Minesweeper, yeah.
What did I say? Is Minecraft a game?
Yeah. I think you meant like Minesweeper, though, right? Like the little time waster computer games.
I don't know what I literally don't know what I was saying. Like, I truly have no idea. I think I wanted to say, in my head, I wanted to say Dumois, and then he wasn't going to know what that is.
Yeah.
So I said TMZ. Yeah, that would have been amazing. Yeah, I don't know. Minecraft. Isn't Minecraft a video game?
Yeah.
Isn't it like you make your little town or something, and you all go find each other? What happens?
Not 100%. My nephew
What is the
loves it.
plot? The one sentence plot of Minecraft?
No idea.
Minesweeper was like that game where you would just hit, and there was like little like explode, like there was something like. What?
Yeah.
I can't. Richard.
It was one of those like time waster computer games. I felt like that.
Minecraft was a TI-89. No, Minecraft was like a
Minesweeper.
DOS. Remember DOS?
Yeah.
I had the gateway computer with the cow. That was mine. Oh man. Are we gonna do a Patrick Willis? Are we doing a Patrick Willis music video right here? Let's go. We'll run through a wall. Can he just please come back and play in the NFL? We were looking at highlights this morning, like, holy sh.
One-on-one with a linebacker. The only problem is that linebacker is Patrick Willis. What a great job by Patrick Willis forcing a fumble.
Patrick Willis took control of the middle linebacker position. He is a good one.
My next guest, one of the greatest linebackers, oh my gosh, in NFL history, 6-time All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, come August 3rd, an official member of the NFL Hall of Fame. How does it feel, Niners legend Patrick Willis?
It feels absolutely amazing. I am truly honored for this prestigious award, to be going in with some of the great ones, to ever play the game with so many who have played. No, it's truly an honor. It's a special time, a special moment, and really looking forward to it.
Oh my gosh, Patrick, it's not even an award, right? Like it's like a game-changing, all your blood, sweat, and tears exchanged for this yellow jacket. It is a stamp. It is a tattoo that you will have. I saw that you unboxed the Hall of Fame jacket, and you showed your Hall of Fame locker off in Canton. You'll be there in no time. Has it set in? What is the one emotion that sort of keeps going through your head?
You know, the biggest part is just it feels like a game. It feels like I'm getting ready to play on Sunday, and I just want to go out and execute. And it's like one of those things when we play the game, it was never over until the game was over. So no matter how much preparation you did until you got up there and you knocked it out. And for this case, it's saying the speech and doing the speech. And so I've been practicing on it since they say get started on it. So looking forward to it and just hope that I can execute it well.
I love that you picked family. You picked your sister Ernica to do your Hall of Fame speech. And obviously you've invited everyone to go there. I'm sure Navarro's making his way from. Is Navarro coming?
Yeah, he is. He is. You know, he's a linebacker. It's his first year being a linebacker coach with the Chargers, and so, but yeah, he's going to make it out, and I'm happy that he's able to do that. But this is the last one of all the Hall of Fames now. You know, I've from high school, from my small town to college to the Bay Area, and now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, I've had many to speak on my behalf, but I remember my sister. About 3 years ago, I want to say it was the Bay Area Sports Hall of Fame, actually, and Coach Singletary, you know, he done my introduction, and my sister asked me then, she said, Patrick, if you ever get into the Hall of Fame, she said, when you get into the Hall of Fame, I would love to do what some of those other people have done for you over the years, where they spoke, introduced you, and I just looked at it with a smile, like, you know, if it happens, you know, anytime soon, then of course, you know, that'd be awesome. And again, I didn't know if it would happen year 5 or year, 35. You know, you have someone such as Mr. Gradishar, who is my Hall of Fame inductee classmate, and I think it's been 30 years for him. So to see that and to see my circumstance, I'm really humbled and I'm grateful.
Who's crying the most out of your whole crew? Who's crying the most?
I am going to say my sister. She tends to be very, very strong, but yeah, she tends to let those tears out, and I'm sure I will a little bit. I've had a moment here and there. It hasn't quite, I don't want to say it hasn't sinking in yet, but I had a moment the other day where I don't know. I think I was sleeping and it was in my mind, just thinking about everything, and I could have swore I thought I was, living it in my dream or something, and so I had a few tears there, and so I'm like, if I had it there, I know they're coming on the day of the enshrinement. So
wait, are you saying you had a dream that you cried, or are you in the middle of the night woke up crying?
Yeah. I was literally, I woke up, like, I don't know if you've ever had some of those nights where your dreams were that vivid to where you woke up and you either sweating in it because you was running your dream, and or it was something emotional was going on in your dream, and you woke up and you either in a smile or in a frantic
you
or
were crying
in tears. And and I just woke up and I had my face was wet, and I was like, man, where does this come from? And then I had a moment and went back into it. And I was like, wow, I think that's the first time it really sank in, and that was in my dreams. So I can only imagine if it happened there, what the day is going to be like. So I'm
can't wait.
Try to be strong so I can execute. So
no, don't be strong. I say, listen. You know how many offensive coordinators and quarterbacks and offenses have been crying tears because of you over the years, over your 6 All-Pro seasons, your 7 Pro Bowls, over only 8 years in the league. It's time for you to shed some tears and celebrate. I want to know, with you and Navarro, it was just thinking about the two of y'all together doing your thing. I want to know, who do you miss attacking the most? Is there a team? Is there a player? When you're having those dreams in the middle of the night, who do you miss getting your licks in on?
That's a great question. And I would say that I really enjoyed my time, sharing the field, sharing the gridiron with Navarro, sharing the gridiron with all my defensive guys, with all my 49er teammates. And I'll say that it was truly just the defense that we had, the camaraderie that we had. It wasn't just overnight. I know 2011 seemed like it just happened overnight with all the changes and things that had taken place, but there was a lot of work that had went into what we became as a unit from really 2008. And then obviously adding Navarro, I think it was 2010 is when we drafted him. And so it was just truly honored to go out there and take the field with those guys each and every game, practice. And it's those times that I miss, looking at those guys in the heat of battle and knowing that, we put in the work, we put in the time, we trust in one another, and we're going to go out and we're going to get it done. And so that's what I find myself missing the most at times.
I would say my favorite was watching, and I was with Calvin Johnson last week I was in Detroit, and just watching you two cover him, running with him, just watching all of that, like that's probably the highlight that I missed the most. Just like, I knew you could hit, but keeping up and all of that, you guys versus Megatron was a sight to see.
Yeah. I mean, I have, great, the utmost respect for Megatron, Calvin Johnson, and just to see what he was able to do in his career, for us to compete against each other, it was a tremendous honor. And he went into the Hall of Fame last year, and so to be going in this year, it's really awesome. I want to say we were in the same draft class as well, and so that's even more special. But yeah, a phenomenal athlete. But I would say that our guys, those guys I was able to take the field with, I would go up against anyone of any decade, of any time.
Yeah.
And
now Calvin's going to welcome you in, Patrick, and y'all are going to hug it out. It's going to be great. I know you're close with this Niners team. You're around quite a bit, my friend. What are the communications like with Trent Williams right now? Are you texting him? Can we FaceTime him and figure this out right now? They say happy wife, happy life. Happy Trent, happy Niners.
Yes. I'll say that I am a big fan of Trent. I don't have his number personally, but being a fan of the game, to see what he's been able to do as an offensive lineman and the way that he's been able to do it, it's been miraculous. And, I'm really hoping that they can get it all situated for him this year. And again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I thought last year was going to be that final season for all of them to really, be together. But obviously, as things have, played out as of now, it kind of looks like this could be the last real big, I call it go around. And so, I'm really hoping that they can get it done this year for everyone. I know I wasn't fortunate enough to win a Super Bowl myself for the Niners, but when I look back, there's certain things that, you don't want to be greedy. And again, I'm humbled and I'm grateful for the time that I had to be able to play the amazing game of football in the National Football League. But I will say, to get the Hall of Fame induction is really special. And I will say that to hear others sometimes, speak about, what it's like to win a Super Bowl or to, have a Super Bowl, that's a really special moment too. So, I'm really hoping those guys can win because as Harbaugh used to say, when one person win, we all wins, and so, they win a Super Bowl, we all win a Super Bowl, and we all get to,
I love that.
Enjoy it with them. So,
well, yeah, you get to enjoy the Hall of Fame, and with that comes some endorsements, Patrick. Let's talk about it. You were repping Nirvana Sports Waters and Seltzers. Not just you, but this is a fun group. You, Steph Curry, Brian Dawkins, Kyle Lowry. What is it about this amazing product that wanted you to partner with them?
Yeah, really, I was very fortunate. Dante, as you just saw there, Dante actually had mentioned it to me, and of course, doing the due diligence, I really was a big fan of the name Nirvana, and Nirvana Super is our, whole name, tag name, and the product is amazing. They have a supplement called HMB. That's one of the syntheses that allows the protein to do what it does, and I know so many people talk about protein, but they really don't know the other components to it. And HMB is another one of those.
Come on, look at these. I need to get myself some Nirvana Super Waters.
I think you really love Nirvana. Okay. I mean, it's really amazing. It's really amazing on muscular health. From boosting, supporting muscle growth. It has all the right supplements in it, from your vitamin B and vitamin D complexes. So it's an amazing product. And again, it's not very overpowering. I like to call it a health drink because we have water and we have seltzers, and our seltzers are only 100 milligrams of caffeine. So not, about as much, probably about 2 cups of those coffees there.
Listen, it's got caffeine, it's got protein, all that. Make sure to pick up Nirvana Super Waters and Seltzers over at GNC. There's other retailers, or you can buy it directly at feelsuper.com. So, Patrick, congratulations. We cannot wait to get you inducted to the Hall of Fame August 3rd. And I'm just going to say, you're going to be Waterworks the whole time. You seem very emotional about it, and you should be. Congratulations. And we'll see you soon, maybe at the Super Bowl.
Oh, you know what? That would be awesome. Again, thank you so much for having me, and go get you some Nirvana Super.
Thank you so much, Patrick. We will. Listen,
or GNC too. So.
If I could go take on, the likes of the world that you did in Megatron and all that, I'm there. Thanks, Patrick.
You know what? You might have to have about four of those Celsius to come to that world, but to get the inkling of it. I
want you to finish this sentence for me. Navarro's linebacker. He's got a hell of a time over there with the Chargers. Jim, very well, of course, reinvigorated, turned things around quick. Give me how far the Chargers will go this year. This year,
I'm confident. I'm confident in Harbaugh. I'm confident in Navarro and some of the guys they have there. So they're going to be very competitive. They're going to be competitive in a way that they've yet to be competitive in a long time. So why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Why not?
Shoot for the stars and land in the clouds, right? So I know that making the playoffs will be huge for them. And yeah, I'm rooting for them. So they make the playoff. If they get in the Super Bowl, I'm gonna go. I will. We'll go if it's the Niners for sure. If it's the
Niners v. Chargers, hell yeah. Let's do it, Patrick. Good luck to Ernica and enjoy the Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.